If you're wondering how much money you should budget to become a realtor and to operate in your first year, you came to the right video. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Charlie Cameron, a realtor, investor, and team leader at eXp Realty with the goal of helping thousands of real estate agents create massive financial success, take control of their businesses, and create a high-quality freedom lifestyle through real estate. Let's get started. What should you budget for as a new realtor to kind of get started in the industry? So it really varies a lot by state. It also varies whether you're going to become a realtor or not get that designation. I highly recommend you do. If for the only reason where you don't have to explain why you're not actually a realtor, when someone calls you that, you'll have to correct them. And then that's going to go down a whole rabbit hole you don't want to go down. And you get a whole bunch of benefits by having that realtor designation. So I just recommend you do it. Plus, when you join an MLS, it's usually kind of all rolled together and connected. So, one of the things I use every single day is a signature/contract writing tool that's connected to my MLS. That's part of my realtor membership. So if I go to a listing and I'm like, oh, I want to write an offer on that, I click the button, it goes into the realtor tool, pulls up the contract, pulls up all the information about the property, boom, and it's very efficient. So there's just a lot of reasons why you're going to want that. So I'm just only going to look at the numbers as if you also get the realtor designation. So you get your real estate license in that state, you get your local, state, and national realtor designation. That all kind of goes together. You get access to your local MLS, the one you decide to join. So all those things are going to kind of be included here to give you a reference point. So if we look at this here, again, it varies by state, some of these fees and costs. You can kind of think of it like, hey, what are the most inexpensive states to live in? And what are the most expensive states to live in? The fees are kind of going to be pretty relative to that, right? So New York and California are going to be some of the highest states to get licensed in. The Midwest, Texas, Florida, they're going to be some of the cheapest states to get licensed in. So what I have here is kind of on the low end where fees stand. I did a little bit of research across some states, and then I have the high end, and then I have myself. This is essentially what I pay or what I did pay. So that'll give you some idea. So for the first thing is the pre-licensing course. I mean, if you aren't sure what the steps are, I've got a video on the steps to get licensed, so check that out. But on the pre-licensing course end, it can vary anywhere from 50 to 500. It sometimes depends on whether you do an in-person class, an online class, the quality of the class. For me, I used a Groupon and paid $50. State registration, so that's registering with the government licensing organization for that state, can vary from 100 to 250. It's not a huge variation. Mine was 110. MLS and Realtor initiation, so again, these kind of are combined. You typically would join an MLS and at the same time pay all your annual fees for local, national, and state realtor associations. So because I joined in September, I believe, I was prorated for the rest of the year. If I had joined in January, it would have been close to $900. So you can kind of see there, that's why I paid that. So this is pretty standard altogether. I mean, the national realtor fees are going to be the same for everyone. The state's a little different. The local's a little different. The MLS is a little different. So in general, the biggest variation here isn't going to be by state, but by when you join. So it's prorated typically throughout the year. And then you got to pay for your first month of MLS membership. And so this small variation here, digital lock boxes, depends on the market whether those are in play or not. Florida, we love our Supra lock boxes. So if you don't have any, you don't have to pay that. Some markets may be more expensive. The initial joining for me was $70, but I pay $20 a month to maintain it. And then broker initial or first month. So some brokers may not have a monthly fee. Most do, and or initial fee. Most do. A lot of them make you pay E&O up front. That alone will be $500. For me at eXp, it's $150 as the initiation, including the first month. So that's where I stood there. So we hit both of these points. So here's kind of the range of budgeting to get started in real estate that you might need to come up with. But the bottom line is just about anyone can get their real estate license, join a brokerage, join an MLS, become a realtor for under $2,500. So that's pretty good news, right? That's a stimmy check in a little bit. Everybody remember stimmy checks? So, so that's just to get started. That's not your operating costs. So you're still going to have monthly and annual costs associated with maintaining a real estate license. So let's talk a little bit about those recurring operating costs. So I sum these up as annual instead of looking at them by monthly, because some of these are annual, some of these are by month, but I just made everything by year and then kind of divided out by 12 at the bottom here. So same kind of thing, low, high by state, and then myself. One thing to note is your state renewal with the licensing agency, the government licensing agency, the frequency varies by state. Some states are every year, some states are every 3 years. In Florida, after your first renewal, it's 2 years. The first renewal kind of is, it's weird. It depends on what month you get licensed in. But so I kind of took mine divided by 2. So here's the approximate cost between 100 to 250. MLS, I'm paying 35 a month. That's what that is. I think that's pretty darn low. Some are higher. Realtor and MLS annual renewal. So this is paid annually. Once you get past that first year, it won't be prorated anymore. You'll just pay that annual fee. But you won't have the initiation fees, the couple $100 of initiation stuff. So while if I joined in January, it would have been $900 my first year. After that, it's only $627 a year. So that goes down because you're not paying any initiation fees for MLS or Realtor anymore. And then your Supra, if you have it, right? For me, it's $240 a year. Could be higher in some markets. And then broker fees. This could vary even more, but typically there are fees involved. And I just put here's my annual stuff. Here's kind of on the high end what someone may charge you from a monthly perspective, and on the low end. So keep all that in mind, and this could be just as little as just your E&O, whatever that may be. So for me, my operating costs before any sort of additional lead generation or someone helping me with social media, hiring virtual assistants, any other things I could spend money on as a realtor, which there's a bajillion different things you could do, but my monthly operating costs, my minimum operating costs to be a licensed realtor and to operate is about $200, which is not bad. So that's probably totaling up all our streaming subscriptions at this point with as many services that are out there, right? So it's not too terrible. Yours could vary. It could be a little less. It could be a decent amount more. It could be closer to 350. One thing I did not include in here is training requirements. So in every state, there's usually you have to take a post-licensing course for your first renewal, and then you have continuing education requirements for every renewal after that. Some brokerages include that training, some do not. It really varies. So I didn't include that cost in here, but you may incur some additional costs, a few $100 a year in post-licensing continuing education requirements. So keep that in mind. So bottom line for recurring operating costs as a new realtor is that just about anybody for under $340 a month can keep operating, and most will be closer to that $200 range. Okay, so most realtors in most states are going to be closer to where I'm at in the $200, so not too bad. So let's talk about some of my recommendations. Guys, gals, have an abundance mindset. I see this all the time with new agents on our team. I know the reason you're watching this video is because you're concerned about the cost, which valid. We're all concerned initially, but it didn't take me long to realize that, if I get a closing, I pay all my operating costs for a couple of years. So just keep that in mind. Instead of worrying about costs and fees and how can I save money here, there, this, that, and the other, let me go with a no fee brokerage that only, a fee only brokerage instead of a split brokerage because I'll save money, but you get no resources, right? Guys, abundance mindset is everything in life, really, but also in this business. If you just focus on growth of your business and landing yourself in the right place with the right opportunities, the right team, the right training, the right mentorship, the right partners to succeed, and you focus on lead generation and serving your clients well, you will do so much better than if you kind of have that that miserly mindset where you're just focused on costs. If you focus on growth and serving your clients well and lead generation, you won't have to worry about these expenses. I guarantee you. I recommend you do the math for your own state. So you got Charlie's WAGs, right? You have to look up what that stands for. You want to make sure you're doing the math for your state. So I don't want you to think you have to save up $4,000 to operate for a year when really it's only $1,700. So again, go look at my how to get licensed video, how to become a realtor, because that's going to show you where to find that information. Now, if you're going to go full-time into this business, you need to keep something in mind. New realtors typically almost double their income in their second year. It takes a full year really to kind of get the ball rolling if you don't know what you're doing. Watch my 5 mistakes video because I go through how I could have just accelerated and skipped that initial year of lower income and gone straight to a 6-figure year that I had my second year. There are definitely the mistakes you can avoid to jumpstart that, but in general, statistically speaking, you just make more money over time as you build your business. So I recommend as a full-timer, you start with both the costs to get licensed and 1 whole year of operating costs. So you can focus on your business and not worry about those expenses initially. Okay, so that's ranging from about $3,500 to $6,500 total. So if you got $6,500 saved up right now, you're kind of ready to do that. Now, I'm not talking about any of your expenses or operating costs you may incur by leaving a full-time job. Now, if that's the case where you might be leaving a job or you might be trying a second career or this is a side hustle, then we'll look at the part-time bullet here. Once you save up the cost to get started, just do it, right? Because you can cover those fees with your full-time job. And then as you start to grow and grow and grow and grow your realtor income, then you can kind of decide if it's right for you to make that full-time switch. So if you got $1,000 to $2,500, depending on your state, you're kind of ready to go and go get licensed and get the ball rolling. I also recommend you have a dedicated account. That's going to allow you to do 2 things. You'll be able to track your income easier and you'll track your expenses easier. For tax purposes, this is going to be huge, as well as you can kind of monitor how well your business is doing. If you don't really know these 2 items, you're not going to know how well you're doing, whether you're growing, whether you'll be able to leave your full-time job, all those kind of things. And then very quickly, if your business is growing pretty fast, you're going to want to establish an entity for tax purposes, and that's going to help you do that for sure. So here's a couple more really important notes about budgeting as a new realtor before you go. One is you got to decide if you want to spend time or money to lead generate. Both are fine. I prefer hustling rather than spending dollars because the leads are just better. They usually reach out to me as clients, but it's not as fast. Both options work, and I can kind of bend almost every lead generation tactic by paid and not paid. Both require work, but if you plan to do all your own lead gen, then we've already kind of talked about that budget and we're good to go. Again, that takes time to do. So if you don't have a lot of time, that may not be the best for you, and you may want to budget for paid lead generation. So if you want to pay for leads, I would recommend budgeting at least $500 a month. I know that sounds pretty pricey, but typically with a lot of lead generation techniques, you can get at least 1 closing for that. There's a lot of math involved there, and we could talk about that another time, or you can reach out to me. You can check out our team where we teach these kind of things, but definitely budget at least $500 a month if that's the way you want to go. So if you're going to hop into this full time, then you need to account for $6,000 for that first year. Put that aside so you're not kind of sweating it. As a part-timer, it's kind of up to you how you want to budget that in. So on that note, if you're going to set that much money aside for lead generation, then definitely check out my mistakes videos and the thing nobody tells you until after you're licensed, because you really, really need to deliberately focus on building your business if you're going to spend money on lead generation. No matter what anyone tells you, nobody's going to build it for you. It's called entrepreneurship for a reason. You're in charge of the success of your business, and that requires time, effort, and deliberate focus on building your business. If this video was helpful to you, please please subscribe for more lead generation, business growth tips, new agent, part-time agent, experienced agent tips and tricks. We're gonna have all sorts of great content for you. And if you'd like to consider the Lion League team at eXp Realty as a partner in your growth as a new agent, Certainly schedule a discovery call at the link below. We'll gladly show you the model, as well as the dozens of exclusive benefits and resources and lead generation tips our team provides. We can see if that's the best fit for you. Thanks for watching.